Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're gearing up to tackle what might just be the ultimate modern tech project. We are entirely rethinking how we interact with our digital worlds. Get ready, because we're going to explore exactly how to build your very own operating system using artificial intelligence.
Okay, let's dive right into this, because this question, it's completely foundational. When I say AI operating system, what actually pops into your head? Are we simply talking about having an AI write a bunch of code to generate a slick graphical interface with windows and folders? Or is it something much, much deeper? Well, to really grasp this, we first need to look at what happens when you just use AI to mimic the operating systems we already know.
13 minutes. Yeah, you heard that right. That is the absolutely absurd speed at which an AI coded a fully functional C++ Chromium web browser completely from scratch. A developer used models like Claude and GPT to generate thousands of lines of code, and incredibly, it actually worked. But, the process wasn't exactly smooth sailing. The AI hallucinated pretty wildly along the way, even trying to install a completely non-existent Visual Studio 2026 just to get the job done. So while it's incredibly impressive speed for sure, it also reveals the messy reality of letting AI build traditional software totally unsupervised.
And hey, that brings us to another wild experiment, the AI Genos project. A developer basically prompted an AI to build a complete clone of macOS from zero, and in minutes, it generated this beautiful visual facade. I mean, it had translucent windows, a working terminal, file managers, the whole shebang. But surface-level beauty hides deep flaws. For instance, the calculator worked, but you literally couldn't delete your previous inputs. The trash bin was completely unusable, and just selecting items on the desktop was a buggy mess. It turns out, sure, you can repeatedly prompt an AI for unpaid labor to fix visual bugs, but ultimately, building a facade is absolutely not the same thing as building a true AI operating system.
So what does this all mean? Well, it represents a massive paradigm shift. We have to stop thinking about a visual OS, the world of literal desktop environments, clicking buttons and installing separate apps. The future is all about the agentic AI OS. This is a headless backend system. It's driven by multimodal inputs, meaning text, voice, or images. It has long-term memory, and it automates tool usage entirely behind the scenes. It's not about making a desktop look pretty anymore. It's about making your system actually think.
Right, so the crucial point here is, how do you actually build one of these? Now, you might be tempted to just download one of those massive, out-of-the-box AI agent frameworks trending on GitHub and call it a day. But as AI engineer Dave Ebelar warns, jumping on that hype train introduces some massive risks. People are literally handing over their private WhatsApp data and credit cards to bloated, pre-made repositories, which has led to leaked API keys and lost data. To do this right, securely, and effectively, you have to reverse engineer the concepts and build your system from first principles. Section 1. Redefining the operating system, moving from installing apps to installing AI capabilities. We've got to shift our entire mindset here. Think about the device you're using to watch this right now. Stop seeing it as a collection of isolated apps and start seeing it as a centralized hub. A true AI operating system combines inputs, memory, large language models, highly specific sub-agent skills, and external tools. It's this brilliant architectural blueprint, heavily championed by tech leaders like NVIDIA's Jensen Huang, that works relentlessly in the background to execute complex tasks completely on your behalf.
So how do we actually structure this hub? Well, it comes down to three incredibly elegant architectural layers that act as your backend engine. And you can host these securely on a cloud server using standard backend tools like Docker Compose and Python's Fast API. First up, you have trigger-based actions. Second, scheduled workflows. And third, the dynamic AI agent layer. Let's break down exactly how these three layers interact to basically automate your life. To make this architecture super tangible, Layer 1 relies on webhooks, meaning if X happens, do Y. For example, you message a specific WhatsApp number, and the system automatically saves your YouTube idea straight to a database. Layer 2 runs on schedules, using tools like CeleryBeat. So every Tuesday at 9 a.m., it can automatically launch agents to run a full competitor analysis while you're still drinking your morning coffee. Now, layers 1 and 2, they run reliably in the background. But layer 3, the agent layer, is the dynamic, conversational interface where you actually chat with your AI via Slack or WhatsApp, give it feedback, and ask it to dynamically pull context.
Section 2. Giving your AI memory, the context hub.
Because look, an operating system that can't remember anything isn't exactly useful, is it? We need a way to organize unstructured data so your new AI brain actually retrieves the right information at the exact right time. To keep it perfectly organized, you can use a beautifully simple 5-folder Markdown file system. Identity stores your mission.
Inbox is for raw, unprocessed tasks. Areas covers ongoing domains like your business or your personal health. Projects is for active builds with a clear end date, and Knowledge is your archive of standard operating procedures. By using these structured folders, you're giving absolute visual order and strict boundaries to the AI's memory, preventing it from getting confused.
Now, nestled right inside that identity folder is something I find absolutely fascinating, a file called soul.md. This is a deep configuration file that literally gives your AI system its personality, its mission, and its values. When you feed this specific file into an advanced model like Claude Opus 4.6, which actually has the reasoning capabilities to understand complex instructions, the AI becomes incredibly personalized. It knows exactly how to show up to work for you, making its outputs highly creative and perfectly tailored to your specific goals.
But to manage all that data safely and without breaking the bank, you use tiered context loading. You absolutely do not want your AI blindly reading every single file in your system every time you ask it a simple question. That's going to explode its processing limit, which is also known as its context window. Instead, every folder gets an abstract, just a one-line summary. The AI scans all the abstracts quickly, keeping its reading limit well under 2,000 tokens. If it finds what it needs, it moves to Level 2, an overview document to understand the workflow relationships, and only then does it pull the full Markdown file. It's essentially the perfect navigation system.
And why is that tiered context absolutely crucial? Well, $50. Dave Ebelar shared this great cautionary anecdote about hitting a $50 API cost rapidly, simply because an unoptimized, heavy cloud agent was given way too much freedom and spent 10 minutes just doing open-ended research. Look, when you're giving AI agents the power to run terminal commands and crawl your file systems, you have to set budgets and monitor costs. Tiered context and strict system rules are literally your financial safety nets.
Section 3. The Ultimate Custom Setup. Building your digital brain.
All right, so you now understand the difference between a visual facade and a true back-end agent. You know the 3 architectural layers and how to structure the memory hub. Now you have to build this into a sustainable strategy from first principles. Build custom to avoid the bloat of those hype-driven repositories. Solve your most immediate, painful problems first. And crucially, make sure you save your event data using databases like Postgres or Redis, acting as your system's long-term storage so you can debug when agents inevitably fail. This structured approach puts you in total control. You build a flexible foundation once, meaning you never have to reinvent the wheel every single time a new AI model launches.
Which leaves us with one final, absolutely vital question. As the AI landscape moves faster every single day, will you settle for downloading off-the-shelf bloat and risking your data? Or are you ready to take total control of your tech stack and build your own digital brain from first principles? The architecture is there. The tools are ready. The next step is entirely up to you. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep learning, and I seriously cannot wait to see what you built.